Welcome to the Scaling Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Harper, and on today's episode, I have a wonderful guest, someone I have followed for a long time. His name is Michael Zuber. He runs a company called One Rental at a Time, and he has built a rental portfolio of over 180 properties.
We did all these things and we made all this money and, all of that stuff. But I had nothing I could anchor on. So I actually called 2023 a failure because I didn't grow. I was comfortable. I just got stuck in status quo, and I look back on it as just a failed year. So heading into 2024 with this inspiration, I decided to run a marathon.
He's created financial freedom for himself. And what we talked about today is how he thinks about the real estate market, how he thinks about building and scaling his life and not just his business, how he's used the scaling of his business to increase and enhance his life. We talked about health, we talked about wellness, and we talked about things that matter. You're really going to enjoy this episode today. Michael, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, Aaron, thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it. This should be a lot of fun.
I'm excited about it. So I think I came on your show, was it like early last year or the end of 23? It was like around like a while ago. Like I think I only had like 20 units or something like that.
Yeah, it was right around, it was about 6 months before you did that video with Cody Sanchez. That's how I remember. I'm like, oh, look at this. Aaron guy got it with Cody Sanchez. I knew him win. That's how I mark
it. You're like, oh my gosh, there he is. Oh, that's funny.
I like that guy. Good for him.
Yeah, Cody is awesome. Her team reached out, and like she's just looking for cool stories, right? So her team reaches out and says, "Hey, we'd love to do a newsletter on your story." And I'm like, "Sweet, that sounds great." So we do the interview with her team. She releases the newsletter. It goes really well, and then they reach out and they're like, "Hey, we want to actually record an episode of Main Street Millionaire."
Right.
And I was like, yes, tell me, yes,
where
ma'am.
do I need to be?
Yeah, tell me where I need to be. I'll be there immediately. And it was really funny because franchising in the entrepreneurial community, I feel like is still this kind of like almost black sheep, dependent upon who you're talking to and kind of what they think about it. And you have to be really careful about the things you say. And obviously there's like a ton of regulations. So anyways, I'm super excited for the day, right? And I'm like, we get there and I'm like super excited to meet Cody. And like within a minute, she's like, all right, so we can't say the word franchise. And I was like, wait, what? Like, wait, okay. So I had to pivot immediately. And just the reason is it's not that she didn't like franchising or anything like that. She's a franchisor now.
Sure.
But like, you just like, it falls on deaf ears.
Yeah, people turn off.
The video seems like an ad.
Yeah.
And just by the nature of franchising, if I'm talking about all the things we do to support franchisees and blah, 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 like it. So anyways, if you watch the video, like it literally looks like I run a power washing company locally in Austin.
I did. I watched it.
Yeah. So that does like $900,000 a month. I was like,
that's a lot of washing.
Like that. It's a big business. It's a big power washing business.
That's fine.
But yeah, no. So lots obviously changed since I saw you.
Yeah,
last.
Congratulations on all your success, man. I knew you were going to make it happen when we were talking. You had 20 units and you had a plan for 100, and it's been fun to watch from the sidelines. So congrats to all you've done.
Thank you very much. Well, I want to jump right into kind of the scaling your life element, because I think you and I are on a similar health and wellness journey right now. And as much of entrepreneurship is about making, your business large and getting as much revenue as possible and bringing as much to the bottom line as possible, I've come to realize that none of that really matters if your body isn't in good shape.
Yeah.
So walk me through kind of where you're at in your health journey, and then we can get into kind of the background, but I'd love to just start there.
Yeah, so I think it actually starts by being inspired by Jessley Itzler. Jessley Itzler is obviously famous out there, And, he has this thing called the Misogi where he basically takes on one big challenge a year so that every year you could look back and say, I did that. And this really hit me hard because in 2023, by all national, but just by normal metrics, it was an amazing year. We went on, 3 or 4, 6-star trips, and we did all these things, and we made all this money, and, all of that stuff. But I had nothing I could anchor on. So I actually called 2023 a failure because I didn't grow. I was comfortable. I just got stuck in status quo, and I look back on it as just a failed year. So heading into 2024 with this inspiration, I decided to run a marathon. I don't know about you, but since I was 20 years old, I always said, I'm going to run a marathon. And I don't know why. I'm not really a big runner. I've done a couple of halves, but never even contemplated doing a full. And I just put it out there, saw the Vegas Marathon was in November. I bought the ticket or registration in January, early January. I'm like, oh, freaking A, I'm committed now. And I had to figure it out. And, running a marathon at the time at 52, having never done it before, you learn a lot. But the most important thing is when I crossed the finish line, I got emotional because, again, it was a year-long or 11-month commitment. And, a lot of it was done alone. Right, when you're training for a marathon, you're ramping miles. You're all by yourself, right? You're not around people, and they just get longer and longer and longer. And having done that and completed it successfully, I'm like, I'm doing something every year. So at the end of 2024, the marathon I think was early November. I hadn't done any exercise, but I kept eating. One of the things when you run for marathons is you really can't eat a lot because you're just, you're burning. You're running 18 miles a day or whatever it was. And I ballooned to 222 pounds, the heaviest I'd ever been. I had never been over 205 until that time, right? So I got to be 222, and I'm only 5'10", so I'm not a big guy. And so I decided that in 2025, this year, I was going to try to do something big and scary. And what I wanted to do is get under 10% body fat. Wow. I started via a DEXA scan at 34.8. So I was obese. It was a problem. And, I've been on this journey. I'm working with Dr. Jeff. He's a biohacking doctor and in Vegas. And I'm just attacking it like I attack everything. So as of early August, I'm down 40 pounds of fat.
Wow.
I'm up 11 pounds of muscle.
Wow.
Base this morning, I'm at 12% body fat.
Wow.
And, I'm in just a different state. I feel better. I'm in size 30 jeans, which I haven't been in since high school, right? I got as high as 34. I'm in a medium shirt now instead of extra large, right? So my body composition is completely changed. I feel better. I'm happier. I get my blood work done every 90 days, making sure my health markers are all in line, and we're adapting those. But to your point, I did this, and it's really funny. I did this because I knew it would be hard. I didn't even know if it's possible.
Yeah.
Right. You're not supposed to be under 10% body fat at 53. But, I'm going to give it a run. I've got, 5 or 6 more months to go, and we're going to see what happens. But the big deal is there's nothing I've done that nobody else could do. If you simply increase your steps, right? Now I'm chaotic, right? I do 15 to 20,000 a day. But if you just increase your steps 2,500 to 3,000 steps a day, you will see weight fall off. Even if you don't change your diet, weight will fall off. Just move more. If you track your macros and focus on protein first, weight will fall off because it satiates you better. It's just wild. So it doesn't even take hard things. And the last thing I'll say is everything I thought about losing weight and getting strong in my 20s was wrong, right? I thought you had to exhaust yourself and leave the gym and lots of pain and all these other things. Not the case. I lost most of this simply by walking. If people need to realize, certainly when they're over 40, and now I'm over 50, if you simply move more, and I'm not talking move crazy amounts, I'm talking about 2,000 steps, 3,000 extra steps a day. So if you average 4, do 7, you'll be shocked at how much weight you lose in a month, right? So what I've learned about this health journey is it's just like building wealth, probably like entrepreneurs building a business. It's just focus and daily discipline. Just keep at it, no days off. And, recomposition of your body, even over 50 is possible. I'm down 40 pounds of fat, added 10 or 11 pounds of muscle. I'm in size 30 jeans.
That's wild.
I'm in, was in 34, headed to 36. I mean, just to give people a feel. And now I'm in a medium shirt instead of a extra large. And, I just benched 225 for a set of 2, which I haven't done since I was 18. So wow. It's a lot of fun, man. It's everybody can get healthy. And to your point, when we started this, I know a lot of people that are entrepreneurs or tech workers, and they're working themselves to an early grave.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how much you have if your health goes. It just doesn't matter.
Yep.
So,
yeah. So in 2023, I launched a business in 23 in February. And just grinded like 18-hour days that whole year. We were hiring a new person every like 13 days. I was doing sales from 7:30 in the morning till 6 at night. I'd go put the kids to bed, eat dinner. Then from 8 to 12 p.m., I'd be running the business. And from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., I'd be running the business, hiring people. Like, it was wild. And a buddy of mine that I've known since college messaged me, and he's like, Aaron, like, I will literally give you workout plans. Like, you look unhealthy. Like, I'll just do it for free. Like, he's a personal trainer. And so I hired a buddy of mine. That buddy doesn't live in Nashville, but I hired a buddy of mine who's like done like the Muscle Man competitions or whatever. So like understands body composition, understands like weight training. And so I hired him in October of that year. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, how long did it take you to, like, of consistent working out to get to a point where your body composition, like, wouldn't be largely affected by, like, a backslide for, like, 2 weeks or whatever during the holidays or something like that? And he was literally like, 2 years. So I'm like, okay, so 2 years of heavy lifting and, like, working out consistently and making it part of my lifestyle, like, and then obviously at that point, like, it's part of your lifestyle. But so that was October. We're now coming up on October of 25, which would be 2 years. And I work out with him 3 to 4 days a week, heavy legs, heavy, like just strength. But last year, in October of last year, I looked at like the pictures from when I took that way and then to then, and I was like, yeah, my midsection hasn't. I'm a lot stronger, but like my midsection hasn't changed dramatically. And then like there was this whole, Make America Healthy Again movement, and I'm sure you've seen like Callie and Casey Means. I read Good Energy. I started their book. I started digging in and kind of following like Gary Brecka and like listening to Joe Rogan and the whole deal, going down the rabbit hole. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is why I'm inflamed. This is what I'm eating. I'm eating ultra processed foods. Like I'm not eating like, and then I'm like looking at ingredients and I'm like, what is this stuff that I'm putting in my body? What is maltodextrin and dextrose? And like, crazy. Like they're hiding sugar in everything. It's wild. So
yeah, the more you can eat single ingredient food, the better.
And I'm 37 years old. I've lived the majority of my life not knowing that. And so since October, I've been very careful and understanding of like what's going in my body. And then most recently I hired a CEO to run my company. And I was like, all right, like I'm like attached to my company. Like it's part of my identity. What can I do to kind of like build my life and, but not like go start another business or like, kind of go down this like whole rabbit hole thing again. And so I, very similar to you, decided, all right, I'll do an Ironman.
There you go. Oh, I like it. Let's just do something crazy hard.
I'm like, I'll just do an Ironman.
Sign me up.
Yeah. So next fall, I'm going to be doing the Ironman in Florida. And the way I look at it, very similar to you, is like, I'm going to build that the same way I built my business. There's going to be numbers. There's going to be metrics. There's going to be tracking. There's going to be all these different things. and I'm going to use those biomarkers or those power meters or those whatever, like macros, as tools to actually effectively accomplish the goal. And so much of health and wellness is mental, just like building a business is mental. Like if I tell myself that there's no way I'm going to be able to not eat ultra processed foods or not eat sugar, like guess what's going to happen? I'm going to do that thing. Like I'm going to go and eat badly and I'm going to feel badly. And so what I did is in addition to my strength coach, I hired like a professional endurance athlete coach.
Nice.
And I said, hey, I don't want to get injured. You don't normally train like amateurs or people that aren't, but like, I think this could be some good exposure for you. I'm going to track the whole thing. I'm going to create content around it. He runs the largest, one of the largest teams nationally. There's like 300 athletes, and he coaches the top 30 in that, in the team. And he's like, Aaron, I've been following you the last 2-3 years. Like, there's not one person who follows you who is going to doubt your work ethic. And he's like, so let's go. I think this sounds like a great project. So
Nice.
anyways, yeah, I'm in the same boat, man.
Yeah, it's fun. There is so much. Again, I track everything now. So again, I wear this Aura ring.
Yeah, I just got one.
Yeah, it's great. For me, it helps me understand my sleep. Right, that's a big thing the Aura ring gives me. Then I have the MyFitnessPal for calories and macros. I've tracked every meal for the better part of a year in here.
Wow.
I have a scale. It's kind of an offshoot of a DEXA scan, right, where you hold a thing and it shins a little electricity. But there's an app, and I could track it and look at the numbers. Yeah, I just love the feedback loop, the ability to go back and look. And again, folks, you're 37, I'm 53. If you want to get serious in health, it doesn't take a lot. It just takes decision and daily discipline. A lot of people, I used to believe, you can, I'll don't worry about it. I do a lot of cardio. Well, you go run for an hour, you burn 300 calories, and you eat one donut, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Right. You went nowhere.
Yep.
So, you just got to watch what you eat. And, our like there's these stories of people that go to Italy or other foreign countries and eat whatever they want and lose weight. And then they come back here and they gain it all back. I mean, our food system's got some wacky stuff in it, man.
It's wild what is in our food system. Like, it is absolutely wild. And not to go down a rabbit hole, but I don't know why food and drugs are being regulated by the same agency. Like, that seems kind of crazy. And then you dig into like their involvement in the opioid crisis of the FDA, and it's like, wait, like what's going on? Like,
yeah, there's some logic holes in that whole.
It
formation.
doesn't make sense. It's like,
make sense.
Yeah, so it's really wild. Yeah, so I'm glad you're on this journey, man. We should.
I'm curious. Triathlon. What is your weakest? Again, triathlon, for folks who don't know, is swimming, biking, running. Which is the one that's kind of your weak, and what's your strength?
Biking is my strength.
Okay.
Swimming is my weakness.
Yeah.
And then running I've been doing my whole life. So that I can also get really strong in. The Ironman, like, people hear Ironman, they know it's hard, but I don't think people know like how hard. Like, it's 2.4 miles of swimming, 112
you're doing
miles
a
of biking.
full Ironman.
A full, yeah.
Full. That's 2.4 miles of open water swimming.
Open water swimming,
That's
112
next level.
112 miles of biking, and then a marathon. It ends with a marathon.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the marathon's the end, and I just celebrated doing a marathon. You're going to roll off a bike after 112 miles, 2.4. Jeez, just call me a wimp to my face. Why don't you?
No. So I've never even done a marathon. I've done sprint triathlons. I've probably done like 15 or 16. I'm doing one on Sunday, which is a very much shorter distance. 300 meters of swimming, 12.6 miles of biking, and a 5K. Like, you could do this tomorrow. Like, you could do a sprint triathlon tomorrow.
Sure.
I've really enjoyed doing those since 2019. I took a little bit of a hiatus when I launched the business, but I got back to it this year. So I took like a 2-year hiatus from it. But
and most of the sprints aren't those in pools? Or no?
No. They're typically going to be, at least the ones I've done. I mean, there are ones that are in pools, but the ones that I've done are in open water. They're usually down current, You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
you're not in the water very long. What my
300
coach
meters is not very far. Yeah.
Yeah, it's typically between 300 and 700 meters.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not like a super long thing, but I've really enjoyed doing those. There's something about just crossing the finish line and then
Yeah. Oh,
stacking and racking yourself against like other people in your age group and
Yeah.
oh, I'm in the top 15% or oh, I'm like I got second. You know what I mean? Like those things feel really good. But
what I got to know, what's a full iron? What are you ballparking? I mean, is this a 24-hour ordeal?
No, so my coach said that it can take athletes anywhere from 7.5 to 17 hours, 7.5 hours to 17 hours, depending upon the athlete. I would like to do it in like, I'd be stoked if it was like 10, 11 hours. But I have no clue where I'm going to end up. So this is kind of my racing, like between now and next fall. I'm doing a couple sprints. So I'm doing one this weekend. I'm doing another one in October. We'll record both of those, put out like a vloggy style video of that. And then in the either the winter or Q1, so sometime at either before the end of the year or in Q1, I'm going to do a marathon, which will be my first marathon.
Nice.
The longest race I've ever done is a 10K. And then in May of next year, I'm going to do a half Ironman in Chattanooga, which is a 70.3 miles. So it's half all those distances.
Right.
Okay. And then it'll be kind of from May until like September. It'll be like peak fitness performance to get ready for Ironman. So this is a long.
That's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be wild.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I've thought about throwing the Ironman out there, but I would have to get remarkably better swimmer. That certainly the open water would freak me out.
So
As a
my
kid who
coach
watched Jaws at 8 years old. I have a little bit of a phobia.
Well, yeah, if you come do it, you're on the West Coast, so you would probably have, if you did it over there, you'd be in the ocean. If you came over here in the South, you'd be in a river.
Okay.
I guess Florida is going to be in the ocean, but like we do them in like, you know, the Cumberland River or like doing another one. So it's river swimming. But anyways, yeah, my coach said that the thing that is the most important for adult trained swimmers is form. Like that's all that matters. You're not going to win the race in the water, but you could lose it because of how exhausted you would be if you're not, you know, good at form. So like I swam today, I swam like 1,600 yards, and literally it's just like focusing on how do I stay aerodynamic in the water, and how do I
And
like
breathe.
make sure that I'm breathing and like moving my body and like, yeah. So anyways,
Nice.
it's good, man. Like I've never felt better. I've never been more healthy. I've never been stronger. And
I love having that challenge out there. Right, that big hairy goal. And again, as somebody who's now completed the marathon, which was always something I looked at, I still look back at 2024 with a smile.
yeah,
Because I know exactly what I did in 2024. I got the medal, and I still remember the emotion from crossing the finish line. It was like, wow, I did.
you see people cross, and I like on marathons, Ironmans, whatever, like it takes so long to prepare for your body and your mind for that kind of stuff. And people just cross the finish line crying because it's like, I never thought I'd be able to do this. So it's definitely a big, hairy goal. And I think like transitioning just a little bit into business is like,
Sure.
I learned that by doing the business and scaling it the way we've scaled it, that I could do really hard things. And that the hard things that I can do are way outside my comprehension of what I could, like, it was like, it far exceeded, it was much harder than I thought it was going to be. Right. Like, and like you push through and you get stronger as a result of doing those things. And so I said, well, let's just apply the same kind of principles and thought processes to these other elements of my life, not just fitness, but family, faith, friendships, these other things that, these other types of wealth, so to speak. But let's rewind a little bit. So where, like, you were in tech, working in tech, and you were like, I'm going to leave this. and go start a rental portfolio. Walk me through the mind.
It was actually a little different than that. So I am I'm a guy who was raised to be an employee.
Okay.
Right. I was the guy, go to school, get a good job, go back to school, get a bigger degree, climb the corporate ladder. My goal all along was to retire at 65 or 70 and just simply have more options. So what did that look like? That meant I thought I was going to work forever. I was going to climb the corporate ladder, be a VP or, whatever. And I was building a real estate portfolio on the side just to have more options, right? My big crazy goal, Aaron, at the beginning was just 4 rental homes.
Mm.
And, that was my, I don't have a great handle on dreaming big.
And
right?
how many
Folks
do you have
like
now? Just to give you
182, I think. 182.
That's wild.
So
and
a little more
when?
than 4. We started in 2001.
Wild.
Yeah, we started in 2001. So that was my big crazy goal. There's a whole twist and turn. You can read about it in my book, One Rental at a Time. But let's get to where the fork in the road was.
Yeah.
So it's 2018. I'm a sales guy. I'm running a product line, and we just crushed it. We just had another great year. And if you're in sales, every year you get a new patch, a new quota, a new team, blah, 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 blah. So I'm heading in the office early February. That's when our year ended, January 31st. I'm heading in the office February, ecstatic. I'm expected to go to club. I'm expecting a healthy commission check, and I'm ecstatic. I get to the office, and I get brought into this back room that I've never been to. I've been at the place 2 or 3 years. I never saw this room before. I'm like, oh, this is not good. People get shot here. Where did this room come from? And sure enough, somebody I hated and hated me. I want to make it very clear. This guy did not like me, and I did not like him. But he was going to be my new boss, and he basically gave me everything I didn't want: the product, the quota, the team, all of these things. And I remember sitting there, going, I could take this or be done. And I never sat down. And we just agreed that we basically agreed that he was trying to get me fired because he was going to give me all this shit. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, let's just skip to the end of this. Give me a package. I'll say nice things about you. You say nice things about me, and I'm out. And, that conversation lasted 3 or 4 minutes. I walked from this back room to my desk. I text Olivia, who's my wife, saying, hey, I'm coming home. I don't work here anymore. She thought I was joking because she knew me in the morning. I was on cloud 9.
Right. And,
it didn't turn out that way. So I go back to my desk. I take 2 family photos. I leave all of my awards, all this other crap there. And I'm done. I don't need to work anymore. And I come home. So I'm 2018. I'm 45. I'm financially free because we have a portfolio of over 170 units or whatever it was at that time. But Aaron, the problem is I had no mission. I'm a type A guy.
Yep.
Who didn't know it at the time, but my ego and frankly my life was wrapped in my job. I liked being the man. I was addicted to being the man.
Yeah.
And I went from being excited to depressed for the first time in my life. Like emotionally depressed, like suicidal, like you're useless, you're whatever.
And you think that was as a result of not having the job that defined you?
I didn't have a mission. I wasn't waking up to do something.
Right.
I did. I mean, I had all the money in the world. I could do anything I wanted. So Olivia, being smarter than me, she goes, "We got to get out of town. You're not in a good headspace. So let's go to Taiwan. That's where she's from. Let's take our daughter. We'll just ball out for a couple of weeks," which was a nice Band-Aid. But what I realized was I needed a new mission, and I was sitting at my I still remember my kitchen table because I'm up early. I've had an alarm clock in 3 decades. I get up at 5:30 on the nose every day almost without an alarm clock, just when my clock goes off. And I'm like, holy shit, I have to get a job or I'm going to die. Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember having that thought. And I don't need the money. I just need a mission.
Right. And
I remember in the very next thought kind of virtually slapping myself. Like, you fucking moron.
Right.
You don't need a job. You need to find a new mission. So this is like 6 weeks after, I get, let go or I quit or however they frame it in February. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to write a book, which came out of nowhere because, I'm not good at school. If you ask anybody in my family, my sister was supposed to write the book, not me. She's much more articulate, smarter than I am. And I ended up writing one rental at a time because I wanted to remember my journey. You've got to a great place in building your business, but I never had time to look back, right? I was always going up this financial hill. I got to a great vista, but I never turned around to look back.
Yeah.
So writing one rental at a time, which became a bestseller, I wrote that book for me.
Yeah.
I didn't intend to publish it. The only reason I published it was because I gave it to 100 people and only one person read it. I'm like, well, I guess people hate free. So, I'll spend $5,000 on an editor and we'll get this book published on Amazon. And sure enough, it turned into a bestseller. But yeah, and then that became enough for me. Right. So then that became a YouTube channel and became events and all these other things. I now have 15 income streams that spin off of one rental at a time. It's wild to think about.
That's insane.
But yeah, I did it because I needed a mission.
Yeah. So what was the mission that you determined? Like, what was the mission?
Yeah. And I'm so glad video number 1 on my YouTube channel is still there. And by the way, I've done 16,000 YouTube videos for anybody that's counting. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
The first video, I'm sitting at my couch and I say, I'm going to try to create something that outlives me by 50 years. Because I personally believe, Aaron, you die twice. Once when your physical body dies, and the second time when the last person says your name.
Yeah.
So I tried to put something out there, and it's still my North Star today. My North Star hasn't changed. I'm trying to put something out there that's motivational and helpful that will outlive my physical body by 50 years. That's my driving. That's my North Star. That's my mission.
And how do you determine the 50-year number? Like, how do you make that barometer?
Well, I'm trying to produce stuff that outlasts my physical body. Hence, my YouTube videos will outlive me easily. Right. Books. I've now done a second book since then.
Oh, nice.
I now am helping generations, right? So I send out these cards. I have 2 different colors. I only have a black one here for people who get deals done. A black card, you can get as many of these as you want. You get a gold card for your first deal.
Okay.
So I send out, 30 of these a month. And I get notes like, you're changed my family. And, oh, Michael, not only am I going to talk about you, because, again, I'm 50, right? I'm over 50. So I'm helping people in their 20s and 30s.
Right.
I'm getting notes from people now that you're going to help my kids.
Wow.
And I mean, that's how you get to 50 years, beyond me.
Yeah.
Is you help the next generation and the generation after that. So it's a lot of fun. And I still think about it every day.
And so you're with the book, just for those who don't, who haven't read it, what is its thesis, and how does it help people?
It's basically in 2 parts. The first 60% of the book is simply my 15-year journey from losing all my money in the stock market to that day I left my job.
Okay.
The good, bad, and the ugly. Mistakes and all. The victories and all. It was just a look back down the hill. And then the last 40% are kind of like coaching, advice, do's and don'ts. So there's a little bit of how-to, but really the meat of the book is, hey, this guy lost 80% of his net worth in the dot-com crash. He stumbled across Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It turned on a light bulb, and then this happened.
Yep.
That's the crux of the book.
And so it is teaching people who read it how to build a rental portfolio, essentially one rental at a time.
Hopefully, it's not actually, so it's not really a how-to book. There's certainly some of that in there, and if you read it, you'll get some.
Okay.
What the book was supposed to be was, it's possible. That's all it is. I'm a normal guy who didn't think, like, my big goal, again, was 4 houses. That was my big goal.
Yeah.
And we go through that whole journey of and again, the other thing to note is I started in 2001, before the Great Recession.
Right.
I had 8 houses in 2006 and could have been smashed, but we talked about how we avoided all of that. So it really is a book that is meant to inspire. It, again, simple couple, raising a family, busy lives, and we earn financial freedom in roughly 10 years. So it's an inspiration book, I hope.
And if you don't mind me asking, what are the 15 income streams that the book has produced since then?
Yeah, so I'll go from memory, right? So obviously I now have physical books and audiobooks, so that's 2.
Yep, got
I
it.
have YouTube, AdSense. My stuff is loaded to Spotify.
Yep.
So Spotify is a 4th income stream. I have affiliates, so like mortgage lenders sponsor me, Hemlane sponsors me, so some of those.
Yep.
Courses. I now have a school community. One of the
cool.
big things,
Yep.
if you don't know, online courses fell off, but school picked up.
Yep.
That's now a 6-figure business for me, and I only charge $20 a student, but it's now over 6 figures a year on school.
Yeah.
So it's just adding little drips. I do physical events, right? Physical events, online events occasionally.
Okay.
So it's but the beauty of all this is, again, to the earlier point, I'm an employee who became an entrepreneur.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of people who are just naturally entrepreneurs. That wasn't who I was. I now wear the moniker of an entrepreneur after being uncomfortable for 3 or 4 years. I was like, God, this doesn't really fit me. I'm like, that's not what I am.
Right.
But now, having thought about it for 7 years, or looking back at 7 years, I'm just delivering what the community wants. And sometimes that's a paid product, and sometimes it's not. So it's it's a lot of fun it's a lot of fun to operate when you have a North Star of impacting people and you don't need money. So I can do things that most people wouldn't, like run a school community for $20 a month, or have a book at $14.99 or any things like that. So I can help lots of people. I can help the masses.
Yeah, that's really cool. Man, our stories are so similar. So when I was working in franchising, and we grew a drywall repair franchise. Basically, it was a complete turnaround. I was working at a company. We bought it from a founder. It was in really bad shape, and we turned it around and grew it into the biggest drywall repair company in the world. And my company was like, "Hey, Aaron, like, you did a really great job here. Like, we want to give you a title with the word president in it. And if you, you're going to increase your salary by like 45% overnight. You'll be on track to be like a C-suite leader within the next 5 to 10 years. And I'm like in, my mid 30s or whatever. And so I'm like, by every like measurement, it's like a killer opportunity. But what I knew in doing that was like, I wouldn't have any true ownership in anything that I did. And ultimately, like, even if they gave me an unlimited budget, they wanted me to franchise a business from scratch. And I was like, even if they gave me an unlimited budget, I'm operating within the constraints of what their risk tolerance is, what they're comfortable with, all this kind of stuff. So I turned down, I would have made like about $1 million a year. All like if I hit all of my goals, which I always generally hit all of my goals. But I went to my wife, who was 6 months pregnant at the time with our second child, and I was like, hey, I want to franchise a business. I don't know which one it's going to be, but I'll find it. I'm going to have to raise capital. Never done that before, but like, I'm going to figure it out. I have this job offer. What do you think? and she's like, I know you're going to take care of us. Go do what you want to do. And ultimately, like, that set out on my entrepreneurial journey. But like, I was an employee up until that point, climbing the corporate ladder, making very good money. Like, at the time when I was working there, only the CEO made more money than I, you know what I mean? Right. Like, it was like, I was good at sales, just like you. But I was like, I don't own anything here. And like, nothing I'm doing is going to make like a dramatic change from a wealth perspective in my life long term. And made this big jump. But I didn't leave college like, oh, I'm going to go found like the next Facebook or like the smartest app or whatever. It was like, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to learn how to do the thing. I'm going to rise the corporate ladder. Yeah, man, that's really impressive. So, so for someone who is deciding to get into entrepreneurship, maybe they have a job, maybe they want to leave the job, maybe they want to get into real estate, maybe they don't know where to deploy capital. Like, what is your advice to that person?
So I think about this a lot because, producing content for 8 years now and being invited to speak with some of the biggest players in the game. I guess this is the first thing I want to. I think there's a myth that the only way you can become financially free is by being an entrepreneur, right? Cody Sanchez, Alex Hormozi, Gary Vee, the hustler culture. And I don't buy that. I believe most people need to just change their orientation on their job. I think your job, your W-2, can be the key to your financial freedom, but most people look at their job like a prison.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just the wrong mindset. I think most people can get financially free simply by choosing to sacrifice, live below their mean, create disposable income, invest in something, do it for a decade, and bingo, bango, you're wealthy. If you really have that itch or that entrepreneur spirit, you really have to start with solving for the problem of what's your unique advantage? What is your unique story? What's your competitive advantage? Mm-hmm. And I think, I've met plenty of wonderful entrepreneurs, but it's not for everybody. I think we over exaggerate the upside, and we forget that, I don't know, what is it, like 99% of businesses fail in the first 3 years or some crazy ass stat like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, we talk about the champs, but we don't talk about everybody else who lost. We also need to realize that most people's relationships actually break over money, even over infidelity. It's money. Mm-hmm. Right. So you just have to be a clear communicator. Right. The fact that both you and I have spouses that were always behind us is obviously kudos to them. But also we were lucky. Not all spouses are that way. Yeah. Right. So you have to have those conversations. So I think too many people look at entrepreneurship as the answer because they just hate their job and they need to change their orientation. That's what I think most people need to do.
I think that's great advice because, like, even someone who wanted to become an entrepreneur and like shiny, like, hey, that looks great. Like I looked at my job as a prison because I was like, oh, this is gonna. Whereas like I was saving money at that time. I had developed a small rental portfolio of 5 doors, but like I still like worked my job 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. But I think that's great advice because most
just
people...
think about that for a minute because, again, I know people, because, again, I talk real estate a lot, that if they get to 9 or 15 doors and they don't live crazy, they could be financially free at that. And that's what I think most people need to understand. It doesn't take hundreds. It just takes like 10, 12 to really be financially free in America.
You figure that's what, like $300, $400 profit per month. Well,
what people don't understand about real estate is there's this curve, right? You may buy it today and it's $250, but guess what happens in 8 years, right? This thing called inflation,
right?
And now you're not making $250, you're making $950,
right.
Right. And again, if you buy them like one a year, you're going to get that curve increasingly going forward. So what starts as 200 could be 900.
Right.
And I think that's what most people miss is that escalating cash flow into the future. And I'm not talking about cash flow next year. I'm talking about cash flow in 8 to 10 years. That's where the snow, like it's a big wet snowball that you roll down the hill, and the longer it rolls, the bigger it gets. I call it the income snowball. So, that's why I think, if you have 8 to 10 and in a decade, they're $800 to $1,200 each. For most people, that's enough.
Yeah. You know who was really influential to me in kind of deciding to leave my job is you mentioned him, Alex Hormozi. I was watching his stuff in 2022, and I was like getting ready at the beginning of the year. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go start a business. I didn't know what business I was gonna start yet, but I was like, I'm gonna start a business. And then I like got cold feet, and I actually stopped watching his stuff because I was like, I wanted that, and then I was like, oh, I'm not ready yet. Like I gotta do this longer. Like I was like trying to time the market, so to speak. It's like you can't really time these things. You just gotta do it. But that was really helpful. And then last year I got to hang out with him a couple times, like, and learn from him. And we dug into rolling suds together, and like, the dude's just fucking brilliant. Like he really is. There's a lot of like people in the influencer world that like don't know what they're talking about. He just knows what he's talking about, like legitimately.
Yeah, he found his thing, right? Sometimes in life, you find what you're uniquely gifted at and what you were born to do. And, you know, I would argue that he works harder and longer than anybody else, but he doesn't consider it work. He's playing a game.
He's loving it.
He's absolutely. Yeah,
He's
he actually
it.
goes on vacation and hates it. He wants to get back to work, man.
He gets back to work.
That's awesome.
But, you know, I don't know if you listened to his most recent, like, 4-hour podcast with Chris Williamson.
Probably halfway through it. Yeah, I usually watch those, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they produce some incredible stuff together.
Yes.
But was really interesting about this last one is, like, he's, like, they talk about, like, the first 3 that they did together was like the work needs doing. You put your head down, you do the work. Like, doesn't matter how you like, fuck your feelings. Like, put your head down and do the work. Just go. And this one was a lot more like human.
Yeah, I got that. I'm about 30-40% in. It's also showing 2 guys that are maturing, in my opinion,
which I think is amazing. A lot of people don't change their opinions. Like, they stay in the same kind of like, this is how I think forever. What I loved about that for the listeners, like, it was like, hey, like, that was true for me then, to like put my head down and do the work. Mm-hmm. And I got burnout on the work, more or less, is what he says. And a lot of bad shit happened. And he's open. He's like, here's all the bad shit that happened. Yeah. And then I realized I don't want to deal with the bad shit, and I want to do the things that I enjoy doing every day. And so we hired an operating partner for, you know, the events business. We hired a president for acquisition.com that's like done these types of things. And it was cool for me because I'm in the exact same boat with my business. Like, it was draining me. It was like I didn't have, like, even though I had a brand president in place, like, the worst stuff would still flow up to me because I'm the CEO.
You'd still catch it. Yeah.
It would still catch it. Like, it'd be like, oh, like, I have to part ways with an executive, and it's going to take 10 days for me to work with my board and figure out the best way to do this, and lawyers and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, well, like, now 10 days of my life is consumed around this one problem. And I was like, I can't like do that like long term. Like, it's I don't derive energy from it. I'm not good at it. Yeah. It like sucks other elements of my life. And
it's really funny to kind of hear you say that, because I can imagine, you know, somebody you looked at the beginning that you started your journey, you had to stop watching because you weren't committed yet. Now you're going back to him, and he's giving you permission to slow down a little bit, enjoy life. I mean, that's a weird circle. That's pretty funny.
It totally is. And like, I just was like, the work can't need doing forever. Like, it needs to be done by someone else at some point if I want to have what you talk about, which is financial freedom. I want to, and then I started thinking about it from like the perspective of like, okay, when is enough enough? Like, you know, we've built to 320 units with 92 franchise owners in 2.5 years in 35 states. Like, I don't need another brand to like I don't want to double or triple my problems. Like I just need to make this one business work, and by putting the right people in place. And ultimately, like, the other thing he talks about is like life comes in seasons. Yes. And like, you could work for 2.5, 3 years, but that could be a season. And then it's like, for me right now, it's like, okay, well, what does like the next 3 years look like if I'm building fitness, family, faith, friendships?
I couldn't agree more. I love this season. I've actually started using that as well. And when I think of my life, I busted my ass, worked harder than most people for 10 or 12 years to climb the corporate ranks and be the man. And then it was ripped away, and I had to find that next thing. I'm having so much more fun now. Like you'll see me take trips on the channel, and I say trips on purpose because people are like, oh, look, he's on vacation. I'm like, dude, what the hell do I need to take a vacation from? These are just trips. Right? I'm doing what I want to do when I want to do it. And it's a lot more fun. And the other thing I've said is, and I'm very clear about this, Olivia and I got to a point on the financial freedom mountain, and we just sat down right? We're looking out at the vista. We're enjoying the view. We're helping people behind us, right, where we can. I reserve the right to start climbing again, but I don't have to.
Yeah.
Right? I could be in this season for another 5 years easily.
Yeah.
But, I reserve the right that, something may come along and I get that, inspiration. I can stand up and walk higher, but we don't have to. And that's an awesome feeling.
Do you find that the health pursuit that you're doing now really fills a lot of that, like, almost entrepreneurial void, so to speak?
Yeah, it's the daily discipline. It's remarkably the same thing as building wealth, right? It takes daily action. You have to be smart about it. There's sacrifices, right? You don't do this, you don't do that. But one thing with health, at least with building wealth, in my opinion, your health changes much faster.
Yeah,
I noticed a change in 45 days. I've seen a real big change in 6 months, right? From 34 to 30, from extra large to medium. These are like real visual things.
Yeah.
Like, I talk to a camera 5 days a week live, and people are commenting, "Oh my God, how much weight did you lose?" Right? I'm like, you can see that in my face. You don't even see that in my body. I'm like, it's amazing. But yeah, it's. I need to have a hard thing. Back to how we started this Misogi. I think it was Itzler. I will be doing something hard every year.
Yeah.
Because it's just how I roll. I need to have a thing that a lot of people think is crazy. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to work my ass off to prove them wrong.
Do you know what your hard's going to be 2026? Have you thought about it?
I have. I've done a lot of brainstorming. I could write another book, which is hard for me. I actually had a list somewhere. I need to go back and find it. I don't know what it's going to be, and I won't know until usually I decide between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, I do a lot of reflection during that time.
Yeah,
a lot
families
of reflection
together, and I talk with my family because again, this commitment, Olivia, my wife's involved, right? Because we're not eating the same things, right? I'm cooking a grass-fed ribeye steak, and she's making whatever she's making, so she has to be involved and bought in as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what it is, and I probably won't really start thinking hard until I hit this goal. And again, I'm about 2.1% body fat away from 9.9. So
that's wild. So are you just decreasing the amount of fats that you're eating on a daily basis, and are you in a caloric deficit typically every day?
So it's really funny. So again, I have a doctor that's involved with this, and we do one episode a month. It's called Biohacking on my channel. So about a month ago, I actually got as low as 182 on the scale. Okay. And basically I was losing muscle. And because again, it's just where I was. And he's like, "All right, Zuber, that's enough. You've taken walking as far as you can go. Yep. And now you actually need to increase calories, not be in a calorie deficit. You need to increase calories, and you need to be more disciplined at the gym, right? You need to
so
push
it's
weight.
Strength building to shift to that in order to reach your goals. Okay.
At this point, yeah, it's adding muscle, and I'm up from 182 to 191.
Wow.
So it's been about 6 weeks, and yeah, I figure I have to be around 195 to get to the target. So rough and tough. So yeah, but at this point, it's because I could have wasted away. I mean, that was Christian Bale and whatever that movie was. He's 5'10". He's my height. He got to be 165.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right? I was like 182. I'm like, holy shit, I got to lose 17 pounds. I'm like, I'm going to be a stick figure. That's not what I wanted to look like. So
yeah,
we changed it. We increased calories from 18 to 2100, up the protein from 160 to 200 grams. And yeah, I'm being a lot more intentional. I was doing weights, but it was like, 3 sets of 10. I'm done. Now it's we're going to failure. And then we're doing it again. And then we're doing a drop set. And, I'm trying to be sore every day.
Do you do heavy legs?
I do. Legs go one day, 1 or 2 days a week. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, legs
big muscles.
To me were a big unlock. I didn't really train leg any other time I've gotten really fit in the past. I didn't train legs really heavy. And my trainer was like, "Aaron, legs are my secret. You burn more. They're the biggest muscle in your body.
Yeah.
You burn the most amount of calories after a workout. It just makes a massive difference." And so we're pushing 225 squats regularly every single, we do one heavy leg day per week. And that's been a big
225 is the number as well for me for back squats. Yeah. It's go to failure and rack it. And do it again. And usually I try to go to failure or one rep, depending if I have a spotter or not. at least 3 times. Sometimes I get crazy and go for that 4th.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you still set big, hairy goals with the business? Is it like unit,
No.
doors? No, you've kind of
No.
reached where you want to be for now.
Yeah, I probably should. I mean, in all honesty, right? If we were having, friends conversation, I need to have bigger goals. I don't do it well, right? Right. I don't have goals for book sales or courses or doors, or I'm just not there, right? I'm trying to show up every day and help lots of people.
That's
And
a
I measure
great goal, though. I mean, that's an awesome
I measure
goal.
that with cards I send out and comments, and I'm still having fun. I have fun every day.
Yeah.
So, I don't see a reason to change, but I do get asked a lot of time, especially by entrepreneurs, like, what are your KPIs and how do you know if you're growing? And I'm like, dude, that sounds like work. I'm not up for work.
But
That
you
sounds
manage
hard.
the properties yourself, right? Or do you have
No, we pay somebody. No,
you pay a
we-
company
we-
to manage it? Okay.
Yeah, we spend about 4 hours a month collectively, the wife
on
and
it.
I, about half and half on the portfolio. So, yeah, and again, we spend a pretty penny, right? It's hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in property management fee, but again, we're spending less than 50 hours a year on the portfolio,
Which
so
is great.
it's kind of a good exchange.
Are you being opportunistic in the market currently? I mean, the market's been really weird. I'm curious to see kind of your opinion of where things are at and where they're going.
Yeah, good question. So I'm being I will always be opportunistic, especially with real estate. If you watch the cycles, and I still watch it every day, you have the chance to make moves. And right now, one of the markets I'm looking in is Las Vegas, and inventory is piling up.
Which is where you live, right?
Yep.
Yep.
We have a couple of houses. That's where the tax man thinks I live.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. So, I'm looking for an opportunity to do a seller finance deal for some single family homes. So I'm looking to grow my portfolio there. But my big opportunity is probably a year and a half away. I think there's a lot of busted syndications who frankly overpaid with poor debt financing, and that stuff's going to blow up. And I look forward to buying, hundreds of units when that stuff starts hitting the fan, because I've done it before, right? I did it before when my money stack was small. Now I have a much bigger stack. So I look forward to potentially adding hundreds of units in the next couple of years by just repositioning equity and doing some bigger things. But that's probably still a year away. I talked to Ken McElroy the other day. He thinks we're in inning number 3 of a 9-inning game. So yeah,
explain that in layman's terms. What do you mean?
So if you remember the housing crash. That's recent.
Of course.
And a lot of the housing crash happened because of the debt. We had 51% of the loans done in 2006 were adjustable rate mortgages.
Okay.
Those mortgages started to blow up in 2008. They started to blow up in 2009 and 10, and we all know what happened there. That's not coming to residential because 98% of our loans now are fixed. So we don't have the same problem. However, multifamily did not learn the lesson. So 5 units and above, people were getting adjustable rate mortgages. They were getting 1 or 2 year terms. So after the 1 or 2 year, the debt resets higher. And now taxes are up, insurance is up, NOI is down. And a lot of these people are going to lose a lot of money. So just like last time when we bought 60 or 70 units that were busted, we're going to do it again. And we're going to buy directly from the bank because the current owner can't service the debt and they'll be foreclosed on. So we're just going to buy hundreds of units from banks probably in 26.
And okay, so I want to dig into that. So do you just have with your existing portfolio, would you pull from equity or do you use bank financing to do that? Or is it just like, hey, I've got a cash account and I put this towards making these acquisitions? Or like, how do you finance a 100-unit repurchase of a syndication deal?
So there's lots of ways you can. We thankfully have options. I would say number one for us is going to be equity.
Okay.
So what we would probably do is do what's called a 1031 exchange, which is sell a house, which we have a lot of, take those hundreds of thousands of dollars and move it into this other commercial asset. So no money out of pocket. We just lever up. So that's probably going to happen 7 times out of 10. So 1031 would be a big deal. A couple of times out of 10, we will buy directly from the bank, and the bank will finance the entire purchase.
Got it.
Which they have done for me before. But I'll have to create a reserve account or an escrow account at the bank for repairs, because usually I'm buying junk that needs repairs, which I have the bank account. I could move 50 or 100 grand to the escrow account. And then the last one would probably be direct seller financing, which may or may not have down payments depending on what we negotiate. So there's lots of ways to get these deals done.
And are you the one on your team seeking these deals out, or do you have a deal team?
That's what I do. I'm deal finder. That's my unique gift. Olivia runs the books and does the audits and does all that. My job is secure capital and find deals.
That is also my job.
It's the only fun part of the process. I don't want to be in the weeds.
I don't want to do the operations. I just want to close deals and sell deals.
Exactly.
That's the fun part.
Exactly.
Okay. Content has become a big part of my life. You are a legend with 16,000 videos. I mean, that's crazy. And I know your systems are really unique. Like, it's kind of like you and some technology. It's not a huge team. Would love to learn about like your relationship with content. How did you establish it? What was weird at first? What's it evolved into? Like, would love to learn more about that.
Yeah. So I'm very unique as far as in the content world. I produce 4 videos a day, 7 days a week. Right.
Wow.
So that's how you get to 16,000.
Yeah.
So I do a live show, 7:30 a.m., 5 days a week. That's called the Daily Financial News. It's where I talk about what's happened in the last 24 hours in the financial markets.
Okay.
Typically gets a couple hundred people that come to that live, and then about 4,000 or 5,000 watch it throughout the day. And then what really made my channel unique and helped me blow up was I created a Rolodex of millionaires. I talked to 12 to 15 different millionaires 5 days a week, and we just hit a topic and we move on. And then that just becomes, I just stagger those because I don't record content 2 days a week now, thanks to my wife, Olivia. She's like, put her foot down. It's like, enough of this 7 days a week stuff. I'm like, yes, honey, you're right. So only 5 days a week.
Yep.
And then last thing is I don't edit my videos. I don't ever edit. It's just live.
Just put them out.
And it's really, I just put them out. Hit record, stop, publish, mistakes and all. I mean, dogs bark, who cares? FedEx truck comes, who cares? Yep. It's real life. And, in the beginning, that probably hurt me, right? Because people would come in with their hooks and their cuts and their jump cuts and all of that. I think in a world that will very quickly moving with AI, I think real and authentic is going to become extremely valuable. And I actually think it's working in my favor now. And, again, it's really funny. I mean, creating content now for 8 years. I've had deal flow. I raised millions of dollars. I did 50 some flips from 2018 to 21. I didn't use any of my own money. I just borrowed money from people and paid them because of the channel. I think we did 30 different borrowers, and 28 of them were from the channel. 2 of them were from my personal network.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's wild.
No, I got a deal the other day in Vegas. Came to me, a lady's like, "Hey, I watch your channel. I want to sell my house. What can we do together?" I might close that deal, might not, but I might. I mean, content is everything. And again, it's how I accomplish my mission of outliving my physical body by 50 years. It's content. You have to produce content, whether it's video. And the other thing, it's really weird. So the only place where I produce original content is YouTube.
Yeah.
If you see something else for me on Spotify or on Instagram, it's cut out of it. And I don't do any of that. I don't edit videos, right? I pay a content team $2,000 or $2,100 a month to do all kinds of stuff. I never even think about it. It just happens. And then out of nowhere, which shocked me, Spotify started sending me money. Right? I published to Spotify for 3 or 4 years. I have 10.6 million listens. And suddenly I start getting $1,000 check from Spotify.
That's wild.
And I don't do any original content. They just strip the video and publish the audio. I'm like, okay, there's another $12,000 a year. What the hell? It's crazy.
That's great. I think that's amazing. So I have the same thesis, and this is just from kind of digging into this, is like there's so much AI slop online these days, and I think like our brains turn off to it. Like anytime I see like it's not about this, it's about that with like a bunch of fucking dashes or whatever, I'm like, this dude just literally put this into AI like in 2 seconds and copied and pasted it with like some stupid emojis that only AI would use and put it out on LinkedIn like it's original. And I think that like we're just in this world now where like what you're doing and kind of like what I'm doing now with like the Ironman training, like my hook is literally just like Ironman training journal, the date and time, and then I write. And that's not how it was when Cody and Hormozy and everyone was like coming up. Like it was like, let me tell you 3 ways about this, and we did a lot of content around that, and it worked. But I don't think it works the same now.
No, again, part of this game is looking where the puck is going, the old Wayne Gretzky quote. And, AI is coming. And if you understand AI is coming, you kind of want to stand out from the crowd. Original, no editing. Hello. And again, the other thing, here's one that I don't think I've shared on any podcast. I think what we're suffering through right now is something I call a trust recession. And the best way to build trust is like what you're doing here. It's long form content, repeatedly, on schedule, on plan.
Yep.
Because people can watch 8, 10, 12 hours, and they really get to feel you. They get to know your stories. They get to see you're not full of shit. You know what you're doing. And that's the answer. All this quick, dopamine, 30-second TikTok dancey crap, that stuff's going to be, gone. It's not how you build trust. It may be how you kill a few minutes in a line in a movie theater or something, but it's not how you build trust. If you're trying to build a business, become an entrepreneur, a coach, whatever, you don't do that with 30-second TikTok dances. You do that with 30, can't. 60, 90-minute, long-form content. Yeah,
and I mean, especially like the higher the ticket item is that or whatever your offer is, right? Like, like to become a franchisee of Rolling Suds, you need to have between $250,000 and $400,000 to allocate towards growing a residential and commercial power washing business. You have to be able to have the risk tolerance to hire 2 people prior to going to training, to leave your full-time job a whole month before training. Someone's not going to determine, I want to buy into this franchise if they see a 30 to 60-second video on, Instagram where I'm talking about
you shooting like, a power washer in the air.
Yeah, no. They want to know like, where's the vision here? What are we actually doing with this company? I mean, $250,000 to $400,000 is the majority of most people who are in their 30s and early 40s net worth. It just is. Most people. And so we've found that the best posts that I do are longer form, whether it's an article or a long form tweet, where I'm breaking down a real story that happened in my life, the thing that I learned from that. The more vulnerable it is, the more effective it is. And last year, I mean, we generated so I had this thesis last year. I was like, I think that if I step out of sales, when you and I met, I was still doing the sales myself.
For sure.
I had a thesis like, okay, if I step out of sales in April of last year is when I did, of 2024, and I build a sales team, and then I spend my time focused on being a CEO 100% of the time, and recruit a C-suite of leaders over the course of the next year, CMOs, Chief Development Officer, and eventually now CEO, I think, and then I delve into content. My thesis was, I think the content will decrease the cost to acquire a franchisee, which is our biggest expense,
I would agree.
to pay for all of those additional resources. And I'm not kidding you, Michael. Every single person thought it was a bad idea. Every single person.
They don't get it. Yeah,
business partners, investors, business partners' wives, like, oh, Aaron's just out here promoting himself. And I'm like, guys, you don't understand. Like, we live in a creator economy. Like, people aren't buying from Rolling Suds. They're buying from Aaron Harper.
Correct.
Like, they got to know Aaron Harper. Like, and everyone thought it was a bad idea. And then so at the beginning of this year, we had our annual review. We run our business on EOS, quarterly planning meeting and I was like, 42% of our franchise sales revenue came from organic online content, up from 7% in 2023.
I would say you were right. They were wrong.
It's like, so can we not question content anymore, guys?
Yeah, it's really. The other thing I would tell you about content, and you've got this clearly, but for the audience, if you're going to create content, you're not chasing virality. No, you don't want to go viral. You want to go deep in a niche. I mean, Alex Hormozy talks about a lady who had like 1,000 people on Instagram.
Yep.
And she did like $100,000 because she was selling this nursing thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Go. You might want to go viral for you, but viral for you might be 10,000 views.
Right.
Right. You don't need 1 million views. You just want to go deep. You want to, you want to search. You want to create content for people that are searching for franchises or getting rich or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You got to really change your mindset. Yeah. Business ownership.
Yeah. It's wild. And I think, I don't know if you've experienced this, but I think it is largely a function of most people think content is just self-aggrandizing. It's ego-driven. It's like, look at me. It's flash. And I think that like what I had to realize after 10 months of not doing content when I launched the business was like, can I make a bigger impact in the world if I have an audience than if I don't have an audience?
It's no question.
And the answer is like, yes. So then it's like, it doesn't matter what my opinion is or what other people's opinion is of content because it serves the mission in a larger way.
Yeah. I mean, if you have any goal of helping people, whether that's, helping them get a franchise or building wealth or getting healthy or better marriage or whatever, content is the way to do it. Right. If you're authentic and you just share who you are, you will find your tribe. And again, don't chase virality. Virality is hugely overrated, right?
Yeah.
I've done 6,000 videos or 16,000 videos, and I think my top video has got like 80,000 views on it. Most of my videos have less than 6,000 views. Yeah. But I have a loyal audience.
Yeah.
And that's awesome, right? I get to help. I get to touch thousands of people every day. That's amazing.
And you can't do that in any other way content-wise. I mean, like I looked at just a literally direct return on time invested, and I was like, okay, like just from content alone, not including adding franchisees, future royalties, like them adding more territories in the future, them changing their life, like just purely revenue in a 12-month time span was like over $3.2 million in revenue from content. So I was like, if I could spend, if I could spend like a minute and get like, where else would I be able to generate? Like, we'd have to do 32 million in system-wide sales in order for us to generate $3.2 million in revenue. We'd have to do $32 million.
Yeah, no, I think you won. I think you figured it out.
Yeah, so this year, just like, we're like, okay, let's build the team out even more. You met Chase. Chase got promoted to director level. He now has a team of editors. We're looking at, like, we started doing the podcast. We release one episode, 90-minute episodes per week on Wednesdays. We're trying to figure out the newsletter thing because, like, a lot of what I'm writing about now, like, yes, it's business, but it's also like the kind of like Ironman piece because like that's what I'm living in and stuff like that. Yeah. So we're gonna do newsletter. We invested in building a website, aaronharper.com, which kind of like will guide people to rollingsudsfranchise.com if they want to buy a franchise. Yeah. Otherwise, they can just learn more about franchising there. And then YouTube. We've been building our YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, I think if you're going to be building a business, YouTube has to be the answer. Again, it's really funny when you look at all my income streams. YouTube is It barely above books as far as AdSense. But again,
meaning it barely covers the cost.
No, so I have these 15 streams, so I'll just use real numbers. So I made $33,000 on YouTube last year. My books were like 28 grand. So,
okay.
But where I'm going with that is those are my two lowest performing streams.
Sure.
So YouTube is the second lowest, but it drives everything else.
It has the highest return because it flows into all the other income streams. Same with the book.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I have nothing if I don't have YouTube.
Yeah.
I just want to be.
And you literally just go on YouTube and you hit record in YouTube basically and upload.
So I in YouTube. So let's be clear. So today I've advanced a little bit. So there's a technology called StreamYard, which allows me to go live in YouTube in 4K.
Okay.
So I go to StreamYard.com, my channel or whatever it's called.
Yep.
I hit go live. I do that. And then if I'm not going live, I record in StreamYard simply because it's 4K. And then I upload into YouTube. So record of video files downloaded, and then I upload. And I do all of that. My team will put a thumbnail on it later, but I record, I publish. Because, again, I'm not editing. There's no freaking edits in my videos. None.
Right.
So, yeah, I do all that.
So how do you find all of your guests?
So that took time. So I'm thankful now that over the course of time that I built up a Rolodex of what I refer to them as millionaires, people who have got to the financial finish line, and they just want to talk to me once a week. So Anna Kelly was my first one. I interviewed her twice, and I'm like, would you like to come back? And she's like, yeah, I could do Wednesdays at 8 a.m. I'm like, great. And then we just talk every Wednesday at 8 a.m.
Got it. So it's recurring in the nature.
Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. is Anna. Every Tuesday is Matt. Every whatever is, Mark.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So they count on it. I count on it. We probably make 45 a year because sometimes vacations or trips or whatever happen. Sure. But, I know who I'm talking to Monday at 9, Monday at 10. We just roll.
And you just talk about what's going on in the market and
what's going on in their business, my business, what the Fed do, something that's market topical for the day.
Got it. That's really cool. I love that strategy.
Yeah, that way I don't have to hunt people down, right? I don't have to go, oh, let's do a calendar invite. I'm like, no, I've got my Tuesdays got 3 guys and they've been there for 3 years. I don't have to think about it.
So do you do any new guests or is it
Sundays.
All kind of for Sundays is new guests? Okay.
Sundays is new guest, yeah.
And then you reach out to those people that you find interesting.
Yep. Or somebody makes an intro for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm finding that very similar to when I started recruiting C-suite leaders for my company, it had to be me messaging them on LinkedIn. It couldn't be a recruiter. It was me doing it. And Layla talks about this, Alex's wife, Alex Hermosi's she talks about this. They basically, once you get to 10 million in revenue, you now need to go find people that aren't looking for jobs, that can work anywhere, and steal them and convince them to leave their $300,000 a year job where they're making great money and they're happy to now come grow your business. And the most effective way to do that is literally she does the DMing personally on LinkedIn. Nice. And I found that to be true with the executives that I recruited. It was me cold emailing random people from other companies.
Let's just talk about it in brass tacks, right? You have somebody on your team that was trying to reach out to me for, I don't know, several months. Yeah. Never went anywhere, but you texted me and we did something in 24 hours. I
know. It's totally true.
That's how it happens, right?
Hey, Michael, want to get on a... And you're yeah, what about tomorrow? I was like, cool.
Done.
Done. I'll have my team send you a calendar invite. Yeah, it's totally true. And we're getting really, we had Nick Huber on, or excuse me, we're scheduling Nick Huber to come on. We had Nick Hulesky, with Brian Beers. We've had some good, people on really early on. And every single time it's me sending a message on Twitter or me sending a message on LinkedIn.
It just means so much more, right? I get no, if it's not happening to you, it will soon. I get hit up 5 or 6 times a day from different VA nonsense. It's all clearly cookie cutter, emails. I'm like, delete. Right? If that person, I don't even know who they are half the time. But sometimes their name, if they don't have the balls to reach out to me directly, I'm not responding. Just delete.
Yeah. It was wild last week. I don't know if this has happened to you, but I had someone on my calendar for a 90-minute long form, like podcast. And I'm like, who's this person? And I messaged my team and my team was like, oh yeah, this person said that you guys connected on LinkedIn and that when we wanted to schedule a podcast together and that you guys confirmed it. And I go on LinkedIn, I look this person up, and we're not even connected on LinkedIn, nor have we ever been messaged. So this dude, this person is on my calendar for 90 minutes, and he's not an entrepreneur. Like, it's fine if, like, I'm not necessarily only have to bring entrepreneurs on, but like, is an employee at like a supplier company that clearly wants to like sell his product to either me or my listeners. Yeah. And I was like, no, get this off my calendar immediately. Exactly. And it's like just crazy, the balls that people have. Yeah.
Well, hey, his boss probably gave him kudos for that. He ran the game.
Well, Michael, this has been great. I'm glad we've got some time to catch up, and I know the listeners will get a lot of value from this in scaling their business, their life, their thought process, their health, everything like that. So, if people want to learn more about you or find you, like, where would be the best place to go?
I've done very few things in life right, Aaron, but one thing I did is everything I do is one rental at a time. I am not hard to find.
Okay, cool. Awesome, Michael. Well, thanks so much, and I'm sure we'll be talking again soon.
You got it. Take care.